Hey guys, welcome to this video. My name is John Watts. I'm a consumer protection lawyer. And here's a question from Sandra. It's a great question or a great suggestion. Please discuss illegally re-aging an account. So that is something that has to do with credit reports. And we used to see that a good bit. We still occasionally see it. But particularly in years past, we would see that. And so here's the basic idea. You're rocking along and you go into default on an account and you never recover from that. Well, that's known as the date of first delinquency or the date of first major delinquency. That's a critical moment in time because basically 7 years from then is when the account will typically come off of your credit report. So let's say that we go into default in 2015. Well, that's coming off in 2022. So let's say that the original creditor, though, changes that date. It says, no, it wasn't in 2015, it was in 2018. Well, now it's going to stay on there till 2025. See, they re-aged it. They changed the date on it. So it doesn't really have anything to do with the open date. It's all about that date of first delinquency because that's the trigger for when something comes off of our credit report. Well, we see it occasionally with original creditors. It's more common with debt collectors, debt buyers. What they'll do is they'll buy a debt, and let's say we defaulted in 2015, and they kind of look around and go, we'll tell the credit bureaus it was 2018, and then it stays on until 2025, 7 years. And so they change the date. Now, the Metro 2 guy is absolutely adamant about this. Like, you have to report the date of delinquency accurately, correctly, because everything flows from that. Now, what happens is sometimes the credit bureaus say, well, we're not going to make you do that. That's on them. Sometimes the debt collectors will say, okay, we'll just make up a date. Okay. And then that's a violation of multiple laws by the debt collector when they do that. Okay, it's going to violate the FCRA and the FDCPA, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. So how do you tell? Well, it's really helpful if you have sort of a history of your credit reports. So let's say I have a Synchrony account and I'm current and I have a credit report. I'm current and have a credit report. I go into default, I get a credit report, and it can even be once a year. Okay, but then that will establish when I went into default, and Equifax will, they're the only one that'll tell us, but they actually tell us the date of first delinquency. And so then maybe that gets sold to Portfolio Recovery or LVNV or Midland or whoever. And then we see, I went into default in 2015, so it should come off 2022. But now Midland is saying it'll come off in 2025. Well, somebody re-aged it, okay? So what if you don't have credit reports? Well, it's something that you can ask for documentation. Be very specific when you're talking to the debt collector, asking for validation. Say, tell me when I went delinquent. Show me the statements where I first went delinquent. Don't just tell me, show it to me, okay? And because I think you're reporting the wrong date. If you do, I think you're reporting the wrong date as the date of delinquency. Okay. You may can go to the original creditor. Now, they don't have to, but they may write you and say, oh yeah, here's when our records show that you went delinquent. And then you compare those. If Synchrony says you went delinquent in 2015 and Midland or Portfolio says 2018, there's a problem there for Midland or Portfolio. Now, one sort of caution I'll give you, on a debt collection account, the date open, and this tricks a lot of people because it's weird how they do it. You would think the date open is when the account is open, like originally open. No, that's when the collector got the account. Okay, so we might go into default in 2015. Portfolio might get it in 2018. They'll say date open 2018. That's not really important for us. What's important is when does it say it will come off, which Innovis, TransUnion, Experian will give us the date that they expect it to fall off. I don't think that complies with the law. I think they have to give us date of first delinquency, but that's what they give us. So that's another matter, whether they're violating the law, whether we can sue them. But Equifax will give us that date of first delinquency. And so you have to do a little bit of comparison. If the original creditor is still on your report, that's great. Because again, you can look at that, and sometimes we will find it'll say Synchrony will come off in 2022, and Portfolio, which is the same account, is 2025. Well, now we got a problem. Okay, we've got a problem. So then you look at disputing, you look at maybe suing under the FDCPA. The Fair Credit Reporting Act, you wouldn't be able to sue until it stays on past that 7 years, but you could do a dispute for false credit reporting, for false information. If they don't fix it, now you can sue that furnisher, that debt collector, whoever it is, for reporting and investigating in a negligent manner and leaving false information. So hope that that's helpful, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, have a good one. Bye-bye.